The game is intended for 3 to 5 players. Players cooperate with each other, but one person takes the role of a spy, working for the enemy. The gameplay takes about 90 minutes and can be considered as reasonably complex. The aim of the game is to acquire victory points. The victory points are tracked throughout the game using the side of the board. Players win as a team if the victory points are above 0 at the end of the game. The spy wins if the victory points are 0 or negative, provided the spy is not in jail at the end of the game. Begin by preparing the board and cards as shown in the rules booklet, leaving enough space in the middle for players to build projects during the game. Place the action cards, expertise hexes, enemy cards, and project hexes around the board in their designated places. Place the workbench, the Improved Laser Sources project, and one randomly selected commercial project in the middle of the table. Now, each player selects one role. There are a few suggested teams listed in the rules booklet. For this demonstration, we will play the balanced team, which includes a mathematician, an engineer, a theoretician, and an experimentalist. Each player takes one action card and 2 hexes from within their field of expertise. For instance, the experimentalist will take engineering and physics hexes. The mathematician will take 2 information theory hexes. The engineer will take experiment and engineering hexes, and the theorist will take 2 physics hexes. For this team, the mathematician starts the game. The player begins by referring to their character card. The mathematician can take expertise hexes or use his special ability. Here, the player chooses to take hexes from the information theory pile in this case. Next, the player takes one action card. Do not show the cards or hexes you've taken to other players. Now, the player has a certain amount of time to use for various activities. Each activity requires a different number of time units. The list of the activities and the time spent on them can be tracked using the instruction card. We start with 6 time units. For instance, the player could use the time for playing 2 hexes on the classical supercomputer and using a literature review card to find the light matter interactions hex. Now it's time to play the enemy card. Victory points are gained or lost during this phase. The objective of this stage is to break the encryption of the enemy card and access a challenge on the other side of the same card. For the majority of the game, you'll be using the classical supercomputer to break the encryption. To break the encryption, check the power of the supercomputer. The power of the supercomputer is equal to its base power, 53 bits right now, plus a bonus from a selected algorithm. Our mathematician chooses to use the faulty random number generator algorithm, resulting in 4 points. Luckily, 53 plus 4 is just enough to break the security level of 56 bits on the enemy card and so unlock the challenge. The challenge requires players to discard a few cards to prevent the cyber attack. After fulfilling the requirement, players gain 1 victory point. This is the end of a single turn. Let's continue to the next player, the engineer. The player starts by referring to their character card and chooses to use her special ability, namely to increase the computational power of the supercomputer. Next, the player takes one action card. The engineer starts with the Super Productivity card and now has 9 time units to use. The player takes 2 engineering hexes and attaches 2 hexes to the projects. There's nothing she can do with the remaining 1 time unit, so she ends her turn. Now for the enemy card. The security level is 55 bits, while the power of the computer is 56 bits. The challenge on the enemy card can therefore be accessed right away without using any classical algorithm. Luckily, this is a simple enemy card, which automatically gives the players 3 victory points. This is the end of the second turn. After this, the game progresses to the remaining players. The game continues until all enemy cards are played, so approximately 20 turns in total. During this time, players keep building the projects and decrypting enemy messages, gaining or losing victory points. The key part of the game is building the projects, which unlock new abilities once completed. This section quickly covers some important rules regarding projects which were left unexplained during the gameplay demonstration. This project, called Improved Laser Sources, is the simplest project in the game. The sides of the hex show what components are needed. In this case, we need 4 components: linear optics, non-linear optics, light matter interactions, and miniaturization. The colour and the number of strips indicate what expertise the hexes belong to. Here, only one hex belongs to the physics pile, while the rest belong to the engineering pile. You can attach a new hex by matching the colour, number of strips, name of the component, and the picture inside the card. Once the project is completed, you can flip it over and check what new abilities you've gained. In this case, you can increase economy and military advancement. Beware, matching cards this way is incorrect. Here, both cards need non-linear optics. Instead, this is the correct way. Let's now introduce a more complex example project, the Commercial Cold Ions Source. This project again requires components: laser system, linear Paul trap, and laser cooling. However, once you find a component such as laser cooling and attach it, you'll realize that this component requires even more new components. As a rule, all physics and engineering hexes are the end components, while all experiment and implementation hexes always need more components. The project is considered finished once all the edges are grey and no new elements are required. The game might look complex, but it quickly becomes very intuitive. It's expected that experienced board players will become used to the mechanics after a couple of turns. Most importantly, the variety of projects and how various elements interact with the enemy cards leads to very different games each time you play. We hope you enjoyed our quick gameplay overview. Quantum Enigma, your gateway to scientific discovery.